Episode 60 of the S&D Podcast Show. Welcome, everybody. Dan, what's going on this week?
Not much. How's it going, Steve? You missed a good, fun New York sports week last week. How's it going?
Can't complain.
You lost your tan, it looks like.
Yeah, it's been a couple of days.
Well, anyway, the New York sports teams are red hot, finally. Figures they all get hot when you're on vacation. I think you should stay in St. Martin.
They're still warm.
They're still warm, but
They're still warm.
They're still warm, but not as hot as they were a week ago.
Well, to be fair, the Islanders were getting hot before I left and just stayed hot.
Yeah, likely story.
So
I am the Howie Rose when it comes to the Islanders, but we'll get to that much later. We have a big show tonight, Steve. We have our friend from Rich Eisen podcast, the producer, the latex salesman, Chris Law, joining us in a bit. Are you definitely exciting news, right? That Steve?
Yeah, we'll talk some Penn State football with him, who just hired a new coach. Of course, Bill O'Brien left there after 2 years. Of course, who was the bridge from the Paterno, so to say, out of the Paterno situation. We'll also talk big NFL championship weekend coming up.
The new guard and the old guard going at it this weekend. The Seattle Seahawks and the San Francisco 49ers and the New England Patriots play the Denver Broncos in their respective conference championships. Basically
the four teams that most people expected.
Yeah, everybody's saying like they should fast forward the last 19 weeks.
Basically, this is the first year in who knows that it's actually the four best teams before the season are playing at the end of the season, because it's always that one hot team that goes into the playoffs. One of us will
definitely be right with our prediction.
We both might be 50-50.
Yeah, I'll take that.
But we got that. A-Rod is in the news again. We'll talk a little bit about him a little later on. Knicks are hot. Nets won today in London.
Yeah,
they went there into Cheerio.
Cheerio.
They didn't play on the pitch though.
No pitch today.
No pitch. So, Joe Johnson was on fire. And we'll talk some hockey as well. But right now we're going to go play a little more Division 1.1 Dying Day. And we'll be right back.
All right, welcome back to the S&D Podcast. Dan here with Steve. You just listened to Dying Day by Division 1.1. Let's start with the little Knicks and Nets basketball action going on. Both teams are starting to play red hot right now. The Nets actually won earlier today in London.
On the 16th.
On the 16th. Joe Johnson went off tonight, scoring 26 points and just carrying the Knicks to a big victory.
Nets.
What did I say? Knicks? The Nets to a very big victory. I have the Knicks on my mind, like always. I'm sorry.
He's gotten hot while Darren Williams has been out.
Yeah, he stepped up big time. The big ticket and Paul Pierce have been stepping up big time, finding their niche with the new team, with the Brooklyn Nets. They're starting to play better. They're starting to gel. They're already in second place in the already weak Atlantic Division, and they're playing really well. They won that awesome game against the Heat. They just played spectacularly well as of late. You got to give them a lot of credit for fighting back and knowing that the division's very weak, that they were able to come fight back and be able to be within 4 games of the division.
You know what's scary? They're second in the division, but they're 7th in the East.
Yeah, it really is scary right now, but they're like we've been mentioning, they're up and down.
Sorry, they're 8th in the East.
Yeah, they're 8th right now in the East.
Wow, they're tied with Detroit. All right, let me ask you this. If I told you before the season started Washington and Detroit would be the 5 and the 7 seed right now, what would you say?
You're crazy. But Detroit's gotten improved a lot more as of late, so you got to give them credit for that.
They're 3 and 7 in their last 10.
Yeah. The Nets are 3.5 games out of first place right now, and
so essentially 3.5 games out of third place in the East.
Yeah, the whole entire Eastern Conference. So whoever wins the division this year is gonna be the 6th seed's gonna be the happiest seed in the world. Either the Knicks, Nets, or whoever wins that division.
Toronto
or Boston. Rondo's coming back. They're playing pretty.
Yeah, they're trading everybody. Rondo's gonna be gone before you know it. I saw something. It's like they have 2 first-round draft picks, the Celtics.
Yeah.
In like the next 6 drafts.
Yeah, they might as well go get draft picks for the next couple of years. Rebuild.
Well, the Knicks can't give him any draft picks ever. So.
It's kind of sad that Brook Lopez still leads the team leaders point per game with 20.7 per game. Like he's been out for the last couple.
Considering
weeks.
Joe Johnson gets 30 points a game too.
Yeah, that's gonna change real soon. Barnett's leading the team in rebounds per game. Williams is 6.9 per game. So it's here or there. Playing okay ball. Like we've been mentioning, they play a couple of good games here, and then they'll lose a bunch of games.
Like the other day, they lost to the Raptors, 96-80. Then again, the Raptors are in first place. So.
Yeah, it's one of the. Oh, actually, let's be okay. Since the new year, so January, they
have 2 losses.
They have 2 losses. They're really one. They've only had 1 loss.
Only 1 loss since the new year?
Yeah. Because it's OKC. They beat OKC. Then they beat Cleveland.
They beat Golden State.
That was a 10. They had a 10-game winning streak.
Yeah.
That was actually the last time I spoke. It was actually before that game.
Right.
So you got to give them credit for beating Golden State and Miami back to back that week. Last week was a very big week for them. Showing how they could be an elite team that everybody was hoping for at the start of the year if things start to gel. Next week, they have a big Monday afternoon matinee. I think is starting to become a tradition in the last 2 Martin Luther King days that they play the Knicks at the Garden on at a matinee. So that's going to be a big matchup for both the Knicks and the Nets. Then they go right back at it, a home game with Orlando. And then Friday they play Dallas, which I'm actually going to be at that game.
By the way, if you're off next week on Monday, make sure you go to the game. $90 is the cheapest ticket.
For wow.
Knicks and Nets.
It's actually not that worth it right now. Let's be real.
Right, well, yeah, the Knicks.
But honestly, the Nets could easily take 2 out of 3 out of that series again. And then Sunday they play Boston. In Toronto, and then they finish the month with OKC again. So I guess they're finishing up OKC this month if they start the month and end the month with OKC. So it's not far-fetched that the Nets could be in first place by the end of this month.
By the way, if you really want to splurge for Monday's game, for $10,000 a seat, you can sit on the court.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Only $10,000. That's not... Saving you some money then.
Yeah, I'm going to the Knicks-Lakers game in a few weeks, so I'm
Isn't that good. Sunday?
In 2 Sundays. Not this Sunday, the Sunday following.
Sunday where there's no football.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct, yes.
It's going to be a pain train-wise.
Not really.
That's the day of the Yankee Stadium game.
It'll be fine. I'll probably take the A train. With all things, it's a day game, so it should be fine. It's gonna be.
So is the Yankee game.
It'll be fine. Everybody, it's New York City. Come to get used to it. With the Knicks now, let's shift the gears with the Knicks. Just another pure circus atmosphere.
They keep playing shit. Sorry, I was acting like Mello.
Yeah. We got to play another game. They played great against the Heat. They played good against the 76ers. They had 5 games in a row.
They had the same score against the Heat and the 76ers.
They had a 5-game winning streak. They played great Monday. Then they forgot that they had a game on Tuesday. No, yeah.
6-2, not including the game tonight, which looks like a loss.
Yeah.
So 6-3 in the new year. Which
Which is refreshing to see. The Knicks are starting to play like a well-oiled unit and everything like that. It's just one of those. When they lose, they look really bad. And when they win, they look really good. So you don't know which Knicks team is going to show up. The whole J.R. Smith thing is becoming a mess more and more each game he doesn't play. I'm sticking behind Coach Woodson with his decision not playing him the other night. Granted, if we did play him, I'm sure we could have been in the Bobcats with him. He's not above the team. And if you don't show up to practice on time or meetings on time, the coach has every right to bench that player, and especially on how well Iman Shumpert has been playing as of late, and how well Tim Hardaway Jr. has been playing. You can bench him for games upon periods of time because the Knicks are able to get away with it with Iman Shumpert and Tim Hardaway Jr. And we showed that we beat the Miami Heat without him. It's just weird how much the Charlotte Bobcats have the Knicks number this year. I think we're definitely 0-2. We could be 0-3. I know the second home game of the year was against them and they lost. I was actually at that game. You got to give the credit to the secondary scoring. Amari Stoudemire has come back with vengeance. He's showing his old stat with the lesser minutes, but he's been able to contribute off the bench. Iman Shumpert's finally coming back to earth, scoring some points and being the Iman Shumpert that we know and like. Chandler finally coming back after bronchitis, missing the last couple of games with bronchitis, so he's not fully healthy yet.
Well, in tonight's game, Amari Stoudemire got hurt. Oh. Sprained his left ankle, as well as Kenyon Martin.
So it's an ankle night. Really. Well, after giving him such praise, it was only a matter of time for that to happen. Oh.
And you know what else will happen? Is Amari's out. Now that means he's out for, 2 months?
Forever, yeah.
See him next year.
It's really sad to see. Hopefully he'll be back soon kind of thing. Oh, just got the alert. Awesome.
Yep. It's not like it gets any easier. I mean,
not at
Clippers come to town.
The Clippers Nets.
And then next week when we're recording, the 76ers.
76ers, and then the Sunday nighter.
No, and then Bobcats Friday night.
Oh, they play the Bobcats Friday night, and then the Sunday matinee against the Lakers. Hopefully Kobe comes back. That's my only saving grace.
Nope, not going to happen.
Not happening? Okay.
Not happening.
I saw the Lakers have been a pretty deep losing streak right now.
Yep, but he won't come back. He doesn't care. He's making money anyway.
Yeah, so hopefully the Knicks still win. We're going to be 10, 15 rows up, so that's going to be fun.
Don't worry, they released his Kobe's All-Star game jersey today.
Oh, yeah, nice. Yeah, he was like, "Why are you guys voting for me? I haven't played pretty much the whole entire year."
And he keeps tweeting out to vote for the Leonard Lillard.
Yeah,
Lillard from Portland, who actually deserves it.
Yeah, that's what I don't like fan voting, because fan voting are stupid, and people just vote for whoever they know and not look inside the numbers. Just stop voting.
Was it last year with the NBA where, was it, not the NBA, Major League Baseball with, it was a couple years ago, I think it was David Wright was hurt and still won third base.
No, it was the other way around. David Wright lost because Pablo Sandoval was being voted.
Oh, yeah, and he was hurt.
Yeah, Sandoval was hurt. And they stuffed the ballot, and he became the starting third baseman, which is all good. It's just a popularity contest of nonsense. I really like how the NFL is doing it this year. They stole it from the NHL. Have a fantasy draft, and that would be cool. You just get the fans voting out of it.
You just vote the players into the game.
Yeah.
And then you vote. And then you let them make the teams on their own.
Yeah.
I thought Dave Damashek had the best idea.
Well, the last place.
The worst two teams play each other for the pick.
Honestly, all sports should incorporate that.
Well, Evan Roberts came up with the to figure, instead of the lottery picks for the NBA, instead of the ping pong balls, what you do is have a constellation bracket.
Gotcha.
Whoever doesn't, because then the NBA makes money because there's televised games. Teams make money because their arenas will be open and they're going to be playing games and selling stuff, and people will be kind of interested in it. It's basically a playoff, a second part of the playoffs.
So whoever wins the constellation wins the first pick overall?
Yeah.
Oh, so people would be playing hard for it.
Yeah.
And no one tanks, so that would be cool. That's something that will never happen, but would be cool to see.
So every year we'll get the Bobcats versus the Wizards, and who's the other team that's usually in the bottom there?
A lot of them.
Who usually tanks?
The Kings.
Kings, yeah.
The 76ers.
The Celtics now.
But it's going to be a very busy basketball week for me next weekend. I have the Net game Friday night and then the Knicks game on Sunday, so that should be fun. A little Brooklyn and then Manhattan bound games next week against the Lakers for the Knicks and the Dallas Mavericks for the Nets. I'm excited. Should be both very fun games. Hopefully both New York teams come out on top. I'm very excited for that. Get my basketball fix for the week next week, especially since there's no football.
By the way, you said the Lakers before. They're 1-9 in the last 10.
Yeah, they have
6-game losing streak.
Yeah, they're in a big losing streak. Hopefully that stays the same for the Knicks when they play the next Sunday.
That'll be the game that turns the Lakers season around.
Yep, of course. I saw the Bobcats beat them this year, so anything's possible.
What are you, Kevin Garnett over there?
Yeah.
Anything's possible.
Championships. No, hope not. But next week is going to be fun. I can't wait. Luxury box night at the Brooklyn Net game. So that's good.
Very nice. Alrighty. On that note, though, we're going to go play some more Dying Day by Division 1.1, and we'll be right back.
Podcast is in no way affiliated with, associated with, produced, or endorsed by the National Basketball Association or any of its affiliates.
And welcome back to episode 60 of the SNDP podcast show on the Schmuck Sports Network. Once again, that was Division 1.1 with Dying Day. Now we're going to shift from the hard court to the ice. Skate around a little bit.
The Islanders are on a red-hot streak. Well, they lost the other night. Lost some traction.
Two losses in the 2014.
But they're playing a lot better right now. Might be a little too late, but they're playing a lot more respectable and a lot better. They just missed beating out an Islanders team record on 7 straight road wins in a row. Unfortunately, they lost the other night to Florida to snap that streak in 2. Steven, who's your Islander of the week?
Well, the guy who won the 3 stars of the week, who's number 1, John Tavares, of course.
John Tavares, of course, is
he had like 9 points last week.
Playing out of his mind right now. He actually had a hat trick one of the games, right?
He's just ready for. He's just getting ready for Sochi.
He is ready for Sochi, and it's just amazing on how awesome the Islanders have a first line now with Tavares, Oposo, and Thomas Vanek. It's really nice to see that JT has his playmates now to score. I know Matt Molson was great for JT, but now having another caliber, awesome player like Vanek and Kyle Oposo becoming his own and showing his worth for a first-round draft pick way back in 2006. So it's really nice to see that line forming. Unfortunately, Nabokov is hurt again, and Kevin Poulin's playing again. So remember when I said he's going to be playing a lot more than we expected this year? Unfortunately, for the wrong reasons, he has been playing as much as he has as of late. What do you think? How do you think he's been playing as of late?
Owen's been playing fine. It's been hot.
Really about the defense still. Travis Hamonic has been hurt. How long do you think Hamonic's going to be out for?
Not sure. It's an upper body. The NHL, it's upper body or lower body. You never know what it is.
Okay, so
it could be 3 days. It could be 6 weeks. Who knows?
So hopefully it's the 3-day version. But who do the Islanders have this weekend? Going to any games? How many home games this week?
They don't have any home games till next week.
Okay.
Monday they have a home game. They're in Philly, home against Philly coming up. At the Rangers, Pittsburgh next Thursday night.
Okay. So you have a bunch of home games to keep you occupied with.
Nope, not going Monday. It's a day game. Going next Saturday. It's a day game. There's only technically 3. 2 home games and the outdoor game.
Okay.
That's it this month.
How excited are you for the outdoor
game? Very excited about the outdoor game. It's going to be a fun experience. One of those probably once-in-a-lifetime experience things.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll happen again, but be a winter classic, because I think after this year they'll just go back to the one game. I hope they do.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because I think it's just too much, and
it looked
takes
weird.
Away.
It looked weird that the Kings were wearing hot Los Angeles Dodgers.
Well, that was fine, honoring their baseball team.
I know.
Who cares about that?
I know, it's just weird. Just get it over with kind of thing.
Yeah.
I saw her on Instagram, and I saw her in person. What do you think about the Islanders winter Hockey Classic jerseys?
I like them, especially now that I've seen it in person. I actually just reposted it off onto our Instagram, the photo from my Instagram, so everyone could check that out. The picture I posted of my Travis Hamonic jersey for the outdoor game that I picked up.
Hopefully he plays for you to christen that jersey.
Yeah, hopefully. But yeah, I'm excited. Both teams have been playing hot. They play each other 3 times in the month of January, so it's going to be interesting.
And both teams have been playing hot, like we mentioned before. The Rangers have been playing red hot. They unfortunately lost the other night 2-1 against Tampa, but they've been playing extremely hot as of late. Chris Kreider is on a mission this year. Rick Nash has been scoring plenty of goals. He's finally waking up. He's finally ready to play, as like we mentioned with JT. He's going to be with Team Canada as well. It's going to be interesting to see how the lineup matchups are going to be for Team Canada when the Olympics are going to be playing. There's no way they're not going to be in the gold medal game. If they don't make the gold medal round, then there's something stupid happened. But the Rangers, since the new year, have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 wins as of late. So you got to give them credit. 3 losses. They're 4-3 right now. Well, hold on, 4-2-1. So right now the Rangers are playing pretty tight right now. They do have a 1-0 lead on the 16th against the Detroit Red Wings at 1-0. So Rangers have been playing better. They're playing more respectable. It's really about getting to the third place in the Metropolitan Division to get that automatic playoff bid, instead of fighting for one of the two wild card seeds for the conference for both the Islanders and the Rangers. More for the Rangers because the Islanders are so much deep in a hole of last place right now. So, what do you think? Who do you think is going to get that last spot? Because the the Penguins and the Capitals have the first 2 spots locked up.
I think it'll probably end up being the Rangers who get that last spot.
The Flyers have also been playing quite well as of late. So
I don't think the Flyers have a full enough team to get a full spot, but I think that the Rangers will probably get the guaranteed spot because they're just the Rangers. It's just how it works. And then I think the Islanders will end up with one of the wild card spots.
You think they'll find a way to wake up?
Yep. There's plenty of hockey left.
There is plenty of hockey left, but I just think they're in too much of a hole right now. They've been playing better, but that's just the typical Islanders. They'll give a crappy month like November, like they have the last couple years, and just build up too big of a hole like they have. Or if they do make it, it'll be an 8 seed, and they'll lose in 5 games like always. So nothing there is new with that. But the young kids are playing well. Unfortunately, which was a great move. It was a smart move for the Islanders to send back Ryan Strome back to the minors because he needs to get some playing time while the Olympic break happens. What do you think? Since you were away last week, what do you think? How excited are you for the Olympics in a few weeks?
I'm pretty excited. There are teams. I think Canada's stacked. Of course, I mean the second Canadian team, the guys who didn't even make the team, are stacked.
Yeah,
which is scary.
Yeah, they should have the JV Canadian team versus they could play with the regular.
Well, one of the rumors is they're actually going to possibly, because they want to get the NHL players out of it.
Yeah,
the NHL, and the rumor is that they're going to try and take it and turn it into. Instead of having the juniors every 4 years, the junior championship, take that and shift it to the Olympics.
That would be cool.
So you take the college kids and the kids from all over the place, and they play, the 18, 19-year-olds. So that would be kind of cool if they did that. Which is the way
they originally had it, and honestly, that would be a good way to have it. It would be fun to watch.
But the NHL players want to play for their countries, which of course is understandable.
That's a sticky situation. You can understand both views. And it's all about viewership as well. Don't forget that. So, of course, they're going to want the NHLers to play, and that'll be a big cash cow for the NBC and all the Canadian channels and all the other channels around the world. So, you got to understand the money is the root of all evil. So, they'll probably won't change it anytime soon.
It's not getting changed. The Players Association won't agree to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's all about the money as well. So.
Both teams are pretty hot right now. They play each other, like I said, 3 times this month. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens. Speaking of hockey, don't forget to check out the latest Dump and Chase podcast.
Of course, they have Andy Staple going on right now.
Art Staple on with them this week. They also had Stan Fischel last week, which was a great interview.
Very good. It was very good listen. By the way, definitely give them a listen. Our good friend Andy, as always, Chase Blackburn. Shane Blackburn does a phenomenal job setting everything up, and Rich and Michael Wolf, they all do a phenomenal job. So definitely give them a listen if you don't have already done so.
And we would have Michael Wilhoff on with us, except that if we advertise it with his name in it, we don't have enough room to do a full advertisement.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because it's at Michael Wilhoff.
Yes.
So you get like 12 characters you can actually type out. So yeah. But he won't change it because it just bothers Shane every week when he does the intro. And he knows that. And Shane knows that if he actually does do the intro, like pre-record it, Michael Wilhoff will change his Twitter handle. As a joke.
Yeah.
That'd be funny.
They should. So the Rangers, let's talk about the Rangers a little bit. They have at Toronto, then home against Washington. The Rangers have a tough streak coming up. They're at Ottawa. They're going to be playing against Washington. Then one of the Islanders games that you mentioned before. Then they play St. Louis, and then the 2 Yankee Stadium games, which are both technically road games, so you could throw that out the window. And then they have that Islander game after that. So the ending of the month for the Rangers could be make it or break it, especially on the 4. Let's recount that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 quote unquote rivalry games in the end of the month. So it could be make it or break it. Henrik Lundqvist has been playing better as of late. They just got to get that secondary goal scoring other than Nash and Chris Kreider to get going. Both of them have been playing lights out. Daniel Carcillo, the new addition to the Rangers, actually added a spark on Sunday night against his old team, against the Philadelphia Flyers. It was very fun. He got in a couple fights. He got into Simmons' face a few times, and they actually heard him cursing on air on NBC Sports Network air. It was between the penalty box with Pierre McGuire, so that was kind of funny. Like, they had to censor him out, and they stopped talking to Pierre. It was pretty funny. They're like, "Oh, Pierre, sorry, you can't talk for the next couple seconds." So that was fun. It's definitely make it or break it time for the Rangers with all the rivalry games they have. What's the Islander schedule looking like?
Like I said, Saturday in Philly, Monday home against Philly, the Tuesday at the Garden, Thursday Pittsburgh, Saturday St. Louis, Monday Boston, then the outdoor game.
So that's a lot of tough games, tough sledding for both New York teams. Let's see how they fare until they meet each other. So a lot of points are going to be had since they're playing each other 3 times, like we mentioned before. Let's have some fun. I can't wait for Steve's insight for the outdoor games next week.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited.
2
about
weeks.
It. 2 weeks. 2 weeks from yesterday. 2 weeks from the 15th. Yeah, yesterday.
Yeah.
So let's go play a little more Division 1.1. Okay, and we're going to be right back with our guest.
SNDPODCAST is no way affiliated with, associated with, produced, or endorsed by the National Hockey League or any of its affiliates.
All right, welcome back to episode 60 of the S&D Podcast Show on the Schmuck Sports Network. Now we would like to welcome in our special guest this week from the Rich Eisen Podcast, Chris Law. Welcome to the show, Chris.
Welcome, Chris. How's it going?
Good, guys. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you guys having me on the show. Looking forward to it.
No problem. First off, I do know you went to Penn State, so of course I have to say, go Michigan from the other day with the basketball.
Oh, no.
Yep.
Yeah,
I don't know if Rich. I don't know if you got anything from Rich. So.
Penn State basketball is it's on the rise. Pat Chambers has them. Hopefully, we've been a year away for about a decade now, but couple tough losses already in the Big Ten. But yeah, Rich loves to jab me anytime Michigan comes out on top of Penn State. But I think I have the final say after that 4 overtime football win.
Absolutely, that was the best. That made my day. I'm not a Penn State fan, but when Steve talks about Michigan, I automatically hate Michigan, just like when Rich talks about Michigan. So
yeah, I mean it's one of those things. I mean, Rich went to Northwestern. You don't see him rooting for Northwestern at all. It's all a little fair weather there if it's Michigan, but that's played his undergrad, so it's understandable. Anybody that has a strong college tie, I respect. College sports are the best, and you guys are obviously New York pro sports team fans. What's your college allegiance? Michigan for you, Steve. What about you, Ken?
I'm a little bit of a front runner, I guess. Even though I haven't been a front runner, they haven't won in a while. Notre Dame, I guess, for the whole Irish thing being half Irish.
Is that from your parents? Or
yeah, my father. So.
You find that most people that are Notre Dame fans, it's a passed down thing. I respect the Irish. You have to.
Yeah.
Well, that was me with Michigan. I didn't really have a college team growing up.
And I guess St. John's for basketball for me, at least, since I have had family go to St. John's. So.
And I have family from the Michigan area, so.
Perfect. Well, that's good.
So.
Well, you got the basketball coach there, Steve Lavin.
Yeah, Steve Lavin is pretty great. He's
and Google image his wife because she's pretty great as well.
Oh yeah, she is pretty great. He's actually doing great for their program. It's he had a rough year last year because he was battling cancer, so he didn't coach last year. So his first year they did go to the tournament, but this year they're a little rough. But it is college basketball, so you never know how weakened the Big East has been. So hopefully they find a way to wake up in the Big East tournament.
Isn't it like the American Conference now?
No, they're still a Big East.
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you what they're in. The way the conferences have shifted.
Yeah.
I think I just realized, you guys know Chris Brockman as well from the show. I mean, Syracuse is no longer in the Big East. They're, I think, in the ACC now. It's impossible to keep tabs on.
Yeah, it's really sad. From being in New York, that was the best part of college basketball, was that 1 week of the Big East tournament.
At the Garden.
Yeah, that was easily my favorite part of the whole season, was that week and a half, and then obviously the first 2 days of the March Madness tournament. But those were arguably the best weeks because you'd have Syracuse play Villanova and Georgetown and on and on and on, and you'd always get those epic matchups. And being at the Garden for a lot of those games was definitely awesome environment for a lot of people from this area. So let's. I'm sorry.
Oh no! Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was letting you finish. I apologize.
I was just gonna say I've never been to the Garden for a college game, but I went to one. Went to a Knicks game. I want to say it was last year. It was right as the. No, this would have been 2 years ago because Jeremy Lin was traded. I bought tickets game 2 of the Jeremy Lin run for a game that was about a month away, and it was against the Cavs, which was an easy ticket to get at the time, but I think could have sold for pretty ridiculous numbers had I sold the tickets. But it was cool. I was 8th row at the Garden, got to see Jeremy Lin play against the Cavs. Howard Stern's there. I think Magic Johnson was at the game. You see all the stars there courtside. It's pretty incredible, though. There's nothing like the Garden.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And they just finally redid it for the final stages of the 3-year process. It's out of this world now. It's definitely you can't beat it. Well, there's a giant scoreboard and there's like this Chase Bridge. Definitely, you're coming to New York during Super Bowl week, right?
I am, yeah.
If they're playing, you should definitely take a look at the new Garden. It's definitely worth the visit if they're.
Yeah, I'll have to look. I'm sure they're there. I'm there for 9 days, so I'm assuming they'll have a home game at some point.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, if you're on Long Island, the Islanders are home also a couple of times.
Nice.
I don't know if you're into hockey.
I'm a fringe hockey fan, I have to admit. I root for the Flyers always, but I obviously watch the Winter Classic and postseason, but regular season hockey, I got to admit, I'm not as up on it, or my knowledge isn't there. I'd be lying if I pretended to know anything about what's going on.
All right, so like we mentioned, you went to Penn State. What's your take on the coaching change over at Penn State?
I'm obviously excited for James Franklin. I think his track record speaks for itself. What he's done in 3 years at Vanderbilt, and he was the offensive coordinator at Maryland prior to that. Pennsylvania guy, has ties. Grew up in Pennsylvania, went to Stroudsburg, so that's a good thing. Initially, I was concerned because you never know. We just had Bill O'Brien for 2 years and gone, and as you know, before that, the coach that was here, Joe Paterno, it was a lifelong thing for him. So to have have turnover at the coaching position at Penn State is something Penn State fans aren't familiar with. But definitely excited for the James Franklin era. Guy is a motivator for sure. I don't know if you guys happened to see his introductory press conference or not, but he definitely sold me in that press conference, and using phrases like dominate the state and saying it was his dream job, and then he's not looking for anything else is encouraging, I think, for most Penn State fans. Tough loss with Larry Johnson moving over to go to Ohio State and be their assistant head coach and defensive line coaches. He was hands down our best recruiter, and definitely a player's coach. The players really related to him and loved him a lot. Good family friends with his son. So it's tough to see him go, but new era at Penn State. I'm looking forward to it, that's for sure. I'm going to be going to the game in Ireland, so it's the kickoff of the 2014 season. So it'll be fun to see game one of the James Franklin era.
Are you going to England as well? I know that was a joke this week in the show.
I am going to be going to England. Yeah, it's one of those. If you're going to go all the way to Europe, you can't go for a 2 or 3 day trip. If you're going to do that endeavor, you gotta see a lot of sights. So I will be in the UK as well as Ireland. I kind of got some flack for that. It was a tweet I sent out that was misinterpreted, let's put it that way, by some, and then the legend kind of just grew from there. But we like to have fun with that kind of stuff. So
absolutely.
You mentioned that he said in his press conference it's his dream job. Is it me, or does every college coach say that and then leave after 2 years?
It definitely can be overused. I actually heard James Franklin did the Dan Patrick show.
Yeah,
Dan comes down pretty hard on some guys that use that phrase, and he had a great response to it. He asked him about that, and he said if you're telling the truth, then it's okay to say it. Essentially saying he really does mean it, where some guys say it. Again, time will be the ultimate judge of that. But I hear what you're saying. So it hasn't been said before, and some guys leave. But James Franklin's been in the NFL. He coached wide receivers for a year with the Green Bay Packers, and he made it pretty clear in his press conference and on that interview with Dan that he's a people person. He likes going out, the recruiting process, meeting with families, growing and molding kids. Not so much the NFL style where it's a little bit more of a business, and you're not building those relationships. People are there for short terms of their contract and moving on. So that's encouraging, but again, only time will tell.
Absolutely, I as well listened to the Dan Patrick interview. That's how I got introduced to the whole James Franklin thing. Unfortunately, I didn't get to watch or hear the interview, the press conference. But listening to that interview, it got me feeling that even though he's going to be there for a little bit of the long haul, and be able to rebuild the pristine story college team that Penn State is, and you can tell that it was his dream job. You could just feel it coming through my phone when I was listening to it through the podcast version of it. You could feel it coming out of his voice when he was interviewing Dan Patrick, or vice versa. That you could feel the passion he has, and he's ready to take that next step. He knows that Bill O'Brien did a phenomenal job with under the situations that he was going through, and he knows it's not over yet, but he can build on what Bill O'Brien has done. Speaking of Bill O'Brien,
exactly.
What do you think he's going to be in the NFL as a head coach with the Houston Texans? After seeing him,
I think it's going to be interesting for sure. I mean, he's no stranger to the NFL. He was obviously with the New England Patriots and came up from them and under Bill Belichick. So the one thing going against him is obviously that really no Bill Belichick disciple has had any success in the NFL. You look at obviously Jackson McDaniels' run was short-lived in Denver. Romeo Crennel in Kansas City, and with the Browns, that was 2 short-lived jobs. There's been others, Charlie Weiss as well.
Mangini.
But, yeah, Mangini too. But, Bill O'Brien's obviously a great coach. He came up under George O'Leary, who was, the coach at UCF, and what he's done with the Knights. The other thing is the Texans are a great football team. I mean, they had a bad, rough year. But they're positioned very well from a talent standpoint. And they're similar to what I would say, and I'm not the first, obviously, to make this comparison. Other people have as well, but it's almost like the Chiefs of 2 years ago, a team that completely underachieved, had the worst record in the NFL, but still sent 6 players to the Pro Bowl in 2012. That's the Texans. They have a talented defensive group. Obviously, what Wade Phillips has done with that defense, is impressive. They lost Cushing again for the year, though. J.J. Watt's going to be there. With the first pick in the draft, it'll just be interesting to see what they do. If they double down on the defensive line and go Clowney, or if Bill wants to, mold a quarterback of his own. But let's not forget the Keenum kid was, in a Houston offense in college that he spun the ball. And look what Bill O'Brien did with Matt McGloin at Penn State and now with the Raiders. I think, given time, you might not need a quarterback there in Texas.
Absolutely. I think with J.J. Watts and their solid defense, on J.J. Watts being arguably the best defensive player in the league, they just need to get that offense going with Arian Foster coming back healthy next year. Before we get to the AFC and NFC championship games, you are a Philadelphia Eagle fan. Unfortunately, we don't like you because of that. I'm just kidding, of course. They had a great year, very impressive win. Unfortunately, the season ended shortly against the New Orleans Saints. What was your first take of year one under Chip Kelly's regime?
Ebbs and flows, I would say. It was ups and downs. It started out with that bang on Monday night. I believe it was Monday Night Football Week 1 against the Redskins, where they just put the bang thing on the Redskins, and everyone was saying, "Whoa, look out!" And then the next 3 weeks, it was not so fast, my friend. As it was a depressing, almost like a lost season there. And then things turned around. Nick Foles, man,
you're welcome for that, by the way.
Yeah. There was people certainly didn't see that coming, and I heard some stuff in the preseason too that Nick Foles was a guy though that Chip Kelly tried to recruit to Arizona, so he liked him. I'm sorry, not to Arizona, to Oregon. So he did like him, which is obviously a good thing, and it looks like they have their quarterback moving forward there. You still never know, but it was an inconsistent season, but it certainly was a good first year for Chip Kelly. I think he realized some things that he can do, some things that don't necessarily translate. You got to remember they didn't have Jeremy Maclin all season. They'll get him back. Riley Cooper stepped up pretty big after a slow start as well, and a horrible offseason incident and mistake. But if they can get him back, Deshaun Jackson obviously is now barking about a new contract. We'll see if that happens. Ertz as a rookie stepped in well, so I'm pretty excited about the top. The Giants, your guys' Giants are struggling. The Redskins look like they're a mess, but who knows? The new coach, and they don't have their first round draft pick, and then the Cowboys are pretty much destined to be 8-8 for life. So as long as we can get 9 wins in the NFC East, it looks like we'll be ahead of them.
And also, if you play in Week 17, you get this Sunday Night Football game.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's what is that? That's not 2 years, or that's 3 years in a row. I think Cowboys
3 years in a row.
Have lost.
Cowboys have lost to every NFC team, NFC East team.
For the
the Giants 3 years ago when they won the Super Bowl, the Redskins last year, and then the Eagles this year.
Yep.
So,
that was arguably the best game I've ever been to.
Oh, you were at that game?
Yeah, oh my God.
We were both at that game, yeah.
That was arguably the I'm not like Steve with season tickets, but I mix and match with when I get to go, and that was the greatest game I've ever been to. It was just raucous the whole game. It was just...
Well, let me ask you guys this. What's your guys' take then on the Super Bowl in New York in the cold weather? Because, we've asked that question to a lot of guests on our show and get their opinion, but as two guys that grew up in New York, I'm assuming it's the greatest thing ever for you guys, or is it no, we want to go to San Diego, or we want to use it as a vacation to get away from this.
Stevie, you can go first.
I'll give you my opinion on the stadium first, because I hadn't had season tickets since my whole life. So I went from Giant Stadium to MetLife Stadium. Getting from the car to your seat is the most annoying thing in the world.
Okay.
But once you're in your seat at MetLife Stadium, it's a great experience. Now,
So what's the bad part there?
Everybody's
just-
taking mass transit, so it's not even worried
it's
about
just the walk to get in. The security is annoying, and they didn't put enough escalators.
Okay.
So it's
This
just
is
like
at
a
MetLife,
huge
not a
plus.
Giant Stadium.
Giant Stadium was easy because they had the three different escalators to each level, and you could walk around the entire thing. So it was like a giant circle, so you can get to anywhere you needed to go. MetLife Stadium has all these big clubs in the middle, in the center area, so you can't like go into one entrance, walk around, and get in to the other side. You have to go like in your actual entrance, and so it's just a cluster to get in there and get out of there.
With my take with the Super Bowl, a lot of people is complaining about what if it snows and what if. Honestly, with how the temperature has been in the Northeast, this week's been 45 degrees, and I'm not going to see anybody complain if the Super Bowl is this kind of weather. And so you got to take the good with the bad. New York and New Jersey are going to be obviously prepared for any situation, unlike the previous Super Bowls in Dallas and Atlanta they mentioned earlier with snowstorms. We're going to be prepared. I'm excited. I know I'm not leaving my house that weekend, but it's going to be fun. I work in New York City during the week, and I'm excited. I'm going to be going to the Fan Fest during one of the days during the week. So I'm excited. It's going to be fun. Too bad it's going to be interesting, and we're guaranteed to have a good Super Bowl as well. So that's going to put a lot of focal points to everything about how New York's quote unquote the greatest city on the planet. Not to be biased or anything, but to have one of the marquee Super Bowls to be in New York City, it would be epic to have a little snow going on. Not like a full-out northeaster, but a little flurries coming around. You see Peyton Manning or Tom Brady versus a young gun of Colin Kaepernick or Russell Wilson. I'm really excited, and it's too bad my Super Bowl party is going to most likely be ruined because my friends do live in Jersey, and they're like, I'm not coming. So it is what it is, but it's going to be awesome, and I really hope this is a thing for the future, that the Super Bowl isn't just in a nice, warm climate city. You can go to Chicago, or it can go to Washington. Something cool like that. I really hope it succeeds. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, that's kind of my sentiment as well. So you guys play fantasy football or no?
Yes.
You're a huge time fantasy football.
So being from New York, I would think that your league this year, what you guys should have done was everyone throws in $100, and the winner of the league gets the ticket to the Super Bowl with those winnings. And somebody from you guys aren't going to the game or no?
No.
We actually got the email today from the Giants that said we didn't win the lottery.
Oh, you did? All right, I did not. Yeah. No.
Oh, so as a season ticket holder, they entered you guys into a lottery.
Yeah, what they did was I think they gave the Giants and Jets a combined 4% of the seats.
Okay.
And then they split that 2% each for each team.
How
much were they going for?
Chances.
Oh, they didn't.
I don't even know.
Yeah. I'm gonna be home in my recliner, just chilling, drinking a few beers.
It's a good way to watch it too, though.
Yeah, you're gonna be at the game, or are you gonna be flying back to California that day?
I'll be at the game. No, yeah, I'll be at the game during the week. We're shooting our Super Bowl special with Rich, so that'll be the front half of my week, running around doing that, and then during the week we have a show on NFL.com called Super Bowl Live. It's like a streamed 3-hour show that airs live on NFL.com and NFL Mobile, where we get guests and celebrities on. So I'm actually going to be out on the boulevard with a reporter, and we'll be doing some interviews with fans and with dignitaries and whoever might be out there. So we'll see.
Which days are those going to be? Because I'll definitely go and try to make sure those days.
Those are actually Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday from noon to 3.
They're closing at work. All right.
Well, you can watch it on your computer at work. That's the cool thing. If you're not too busy. But yeah, so they're closing down Broadway and they're renaming it Super Bowl Boulevard for like a 15-block stretch, and they're putting a ton of stuff up. for fan engagement and fan zones and all this stuff. So that's where I'll be most of the week. So while I'm rooting for some snow and some cold, I'm hoping it's not too cold.
So it'll be okay if we say that Chris Law told us not to do work and watch the show on NFL.com, right?
That would be fine, yeah. Just tell your bosses. That's totally.
No, yeah,
Totally
I absolutely can't wait. My girlfriend actually signed us up for those tickets for the whole Boulevard thing today, actually. So I'm actually really excited for it. It should be fun.
Cool.
Yeah, hopefully we get to run into each other.
It's kind of
absolutely. I'll be out there. I'm sure I'll be tweeting some of my locations where we're at and what we're shooting. So hit me up and we'll have to meet up or something.
Most stuff.
It's kind of like what happened over the summer with me in the MLB All-Star Game. It was at Citi Field. It was one of those like once-in-a-lifetime experiences. It's kind of what this is going to be for a lot of the people in New York. I'm sorry?
Did you go to that?
Yeah, I was there Sunday for the Futures game and Celebrity Softball game, the Home Run Derby on Monday, and then the All-Star Game itself on Tuesday.
I think the Derby's probably the best thing out of all of it. Although the All-Star Game has gotten pretty sweet now, too, that it means something and they're playing, too. But
well, the cool thing with the All-Star Game was, Matt Harvey started, and I'm a big Mets fan.
Sure, yeah.
So that was awesome. But the best moment of the whole week had to be just the Rivera moment.
Yeah.
That was right. We had seats probably I think it was the third to last row from the top, right behind home plate. So I just had a perfect view of the entire field for when Enter Sandman started and he just took the field. And it was just pure emotion.
Oh, man, well, you guys don't have to deal with him anymore. No one does.
Yankee fans get to know what it's like now not to have a closer.
So what's your guys' take on the A-Rod thing, then? Because I'm assuming if you're Mets fans, you almost want him to not be suspended, so the Yankees have to pay him that money, right?
I'm just tired of this story. It's just getting crazier and crazier by the day and the moment. And with A-Rod, it was it's just becoming a reality TV show by the minute.
Yeah,
I think he just keeps digging himself a deeper and deeper hole.
Yeah, it's honestly the best reality TV show or reality type of show out there for New York. Every day, if you get the New York Post or Daily News, he's always on the back page. It's either him or J.R. Smith lately, essentially. It's just one of those crazy things. You're just not gonna know what's going on. It's he said, she said. And I do agree to the standpoint that he hasn't technically failed the test, so he might have a shot with the feds, but it's going to be interesting to see who's telling the truth. It really is a cluster, and you really don't know what's going to happen, and it's really sad. Even without the steroids, he would have been if he didn't take steroids, he would arguably would have been one of the best, if not the best, baseball player of all time. And it's really sad to see a guy like A-Rod's caliber go so low, and it's really starting to get that sad. It's not really enjoyable to watch anymore. It's more like a sad and pathetic, if you ask me.
That's a sideshow now, circus.
How's Rich feeling with it since he's a big Yankee fan?
Actually, I haven't talked to him about it. We were going to bring it up, and then for some reason we didn't get to it on the show. And it was a short week this week because he's actually out of town as well, and didn't get to ask him. I'm sure he's over it though. I think he talked to Dan a little bit about it whenever he was on Dan's show, maybe. But yeah, it's I think the Yankees are his pride and joy. That's that's his end all be all. I mean, he named his daughter's middle name Mattingly, so. He's pretty diehard.
Absolutely.
I actually have a friend who wanted to name his daughter Don.
That's weird.
After Don Mattingly. That's how much of a fan of Don Mattingly he was.
I like Rich's theory of Mattingly better than Don. 100%.
Oh, yeah. He got shut down by his wife on that one.
Yeah, it's like my dad wanted to call me Ferris. It was just like my mom's like, no. No way.
Big John Hughes fan? Big Ferris Bueller's Day Off?
Yeah, essentially, and it's Gaelic for Peter as well, and his name's Peter. And my mom's a very thick Italian, a very big Italian woman, and she's like, not a chance.
No shot.
What could have been worse? My sister wanted to name me Bam Bam after the Flintstones character.
Well, here or there.
Yeah, that's no bueno.
So it's basically the last weekend of actual football.
Yeah, this is the best weekend of football. The Super Bowl is all fun, but after, with 5 minutes left, hoping for a good game, you're just like, oh man, football's over, kind of feeling.
Yeah, it's a roller coaster day because it's one of the Sunday is the best. I mean, I really enjoy divisional round 2 because you get Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah. And
it's just game. But Championship Sunday is awesome. And then when there's about that 5 minutes left, you're like, oh no, this is pretty much it. And then you got the Pro Bowl the week after, which should be interesting this year with the new format they're doing and some of the stuff. But then it's the Super Bowl, and then it's the countdown to preseason and the college football season.
Yeah. So basically, I think it was on your show, and then Dave Damashek said that we should have just skipped every week of the season and just went straight to this because we basically, for the first time in a while, have the best 4 teams.
Yeah.
So, what's your take on the AFC game, Chris?
I like the Seahawks in it. I think, their defense is unbelievable. I saw, I was going through some of our research stats today. I think the 49ers and the Seahawks are the only 2 teams in the NFL that have run the ball more than 50% of the time. The Niners are number 1 in the NFL running the ball at, I believe, at about a 52.5% clip of their plays, and the Seahawks are like a 0.1% behind them. So, as much as everyone wants to talk Kaepernick and that, Frank Gore is the catalyst for them, and you got to get him the ball. The Niners haven't lost a game yet where they've led time of possession. So essentially, if they're winning the time of possession battle, they're 8-0 this year. But I still think the 12th man is a huge factor. It's a real thing up there. You can't simulate it in practice with speakers and loud noises. And if you've been watching the Niners all season, they've had a lot of trouble burning timeouts early in first half and second half because they do a lot of motions in their offense. And, to hear those motions, you have to be able to hear Kaepernick. So I think it's going to be a great game, probably maybe a little higher scoring than people think with 2 great defenses. But I like the Seahawks advancing there. And Russell Wilson just wins. Doesn't matter what his stat line is. He threw for 103 yards last week, and he won. Did what he had to do, and beast mode did the rest.
Yep.
So I like the Seahawks.
You can also say that about Harbaugh. 3 years now, he's in the NFC Championship game.
I believe he's the first coach to do that in his first 3 years, make it to the championship game in every season, which is impressive. It's we talked about it earlier with the Chiefs, and they weren't as bad as they were the year before, and I mentioned it with the Texans under Singletary 4 years ago. That was an underachieving San Fran team, and they needed the kick in the backside that a guy like Harbaugh brings in. So it's been impressive for sure. But I think it's a win-win. Either team gets in. The 49ers have been there. They know what to expect. Seahawks haven't been there since 2005. I don't believe there's anyone remaining on the team that made the trip to Detroit in 2005. So, but I think the Seahawks do it this week.
I think the Niners are not going to shock the world. I think they're going to find a way. They're playing a little bit hotter. They're playing a little bit more meaner. And I think they're going to come in with the 12th man. They're going to be hungry, and they're going to fight against the world kind of mentality.
Yeah, if they can silence the crowd and get the crowd out of it early, it's a huge difference as well. And if they can pounce early and get a score or 2, that can definitely happen. And you can't discount what Michael Crabtree means to that offense and what he's done. Coming off an Achilles, that's one of the most difficult injuries to come back from. He's been solid throughout. And the good news is, if you like the Niners and I like the Seahawks, my picks have been awful this postseason. So if you're you're a betting man, I would go with the opposite direction of what I say, but I do think the Seahawks get it.
I've actually had the Niners since August. I actually know how Rich had the contradiction of the Seahawks and the Niners.
Yeah.
I actually have the same with the AFC.
Okay.
I had the Patriots during the year, and I'm like, all right, I'm sticking with the Patriots. But tomorrow on Sunday, I kind of want the Broncos to win, but I'm still gonna go with the Patriots because that's my pick since August. So it's a little contradiction, but I think it's gonna be interesting. That's gonna be exciting. Do Belichick and Brady one up Peyton once again in the playoffs? It's definitely gonna be interesting. What do you think? How excited are you for that game as well?
I'm definitely excited. I'll probably actually be watching it most likely with Brockman, although it's difficult to watch Patriots games with Brockman, as it is with anybody who's a diehard fan of their team, and you're not. But, I've picked against the Patriots so many times this season, and they pulled it out. It's really unbelievable. We talked about it on our show a lot, how much they've lost on offense. With obviously Hernandez gone for forever, pretty much. Gronk missing over 10 games, no Welker. And then on defense, their two best players, Mayo and Wilfork, out. It's got to catch up with them at some point. And, coming into Sports Authority Field, that offense, last time they played, the Broncos went up a quick 24-0, somehow blew that game. That was one of the most incredible comebacks ever. But Rich mentioned it on the show this week, the Broncos didn't have Julius Thomas in that game. And
yeah, that's good.
He's a huge factor for them. So, I think Jesus Hammy caught a touchdown that game, actually. So, you could say they got him involved and they still have the tight end position involved. But I like the Broncos to advance and move on, but Peyton Manning has the most career home playoff losses of any quarterback in NFL history, so I wouldn't put it past him to lose it either.
Oh, that's right. I saw you tweet that out today.
Yeah, five playoff home losses, most in NFL history. So.
Yeah, but remember the last road playoff game for the Patriots was in 2006 in Indianapolis, where Peyton won.
Yeah, exactly. And Peyton won. So that's true. It's we say all the time, but it literally is the best reality show in television. We don't know what's going to happen, and that's why I've picked both home teams, but I can realistically see both road teams going in and winning, which I think is what makes this one of the best championship weekends ever. Really.
Wow, I just looked. I'm actually playing in your fantasy playoff challenge in the Rich Eisen podcast group. I'm actually 93rd ranked. Actually, I'm kind of proud of myself for that. I didn't realize that I was 93rd ranked.
93rd.
Yeah.
Nice.
I didn't realize that. So I think the 49ers.
Who'd you load up on?
I loaded up on Niners. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the strategy. You pretty much have to pick one team, AFC, one team NFC, and then hit, essentially. The guy that's winning that, though, he took LeGarrette Blount week one, which was a bye, which who's thinking LeGarrette Blount anyway?
Yeah,
and
that's
then
crazy.
Who also thinks he's going to have 4 touchdowns? So.
Yeah, this week I have Kaepernick going ×3, Gore going ×2, Marshawn Lynch ×2, Anquan Bolden ×3, and Julian Edelman ×2. And I got the Niners D going ×2. I got Julius Thomas and Matt Prater. So I'm gonna have to. It's all or nothing this week. If the Niners don't win this week, I am pretty much out of the water. But it is. I definitely loaded up on Niners.
Nice.
So I'm actually pretty proud of myself.
It's a fun game. It definitely is. I mean, NFL.com launched that I think 3 years ago, and it's been a fun way to kind of extend the postseason. One of the other shows I work on for the network is NFL Fantasy Lives, and I line produce that, and so I'm pretty close involved with fantasy all season long. And then if you're out of your league's championship or you're out of the playoffs, come week 12 or 13, you get those fantasy blues, and it's like, you kind of need that. That's something. So this has been a fun thing, and we started it on the podcast last year. Got a good response from it. and then doing it again this year. So it's fun.
How much of a diva is Adam Rank? Adam Rank's a good friend of our podcast as well. We've had him on a bunch of times. How much of a diva is Adam Rank?
Adam Rank is the biggest diva you'll ever meet. No, actually, he's a good dude. Really nice guy. He's actually going to be one of the guys out with me on Super Bowl Boulevard this week, or Super Bowl week. So I'll be out there with him. But no, Rank's a good guy. Loves his wrestling, obviously, and his fantasy football.
Absolutely, yeah. I've been talking to him on and off. I'm going to try to meet up with him at some point. But yeah, no, he's definitely one of the coolest guys down to earth. Like he seems like the guy that the minute you talk to him, become friends with him right away. And you get to work with him every day. So he definitely seems easy to work with. All kidding aside.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's different types of people. He's definitely a nice guy. Knows his stuff, and loves interacting with fans too, which is always good too. So, I'm sure he'll meet up with you guys at Super Bowl if you guys are there.
All right, Chris. Before we let you go, you've done, I think they said it was like 250 something podcasts now for Rich.
Yeah, we just did 253.
253. I mean, we're only up to 60, so we're getting there. We're working
60.
on it.
That's pretty impressive. What do you guys put out? One a week or?
One a week, yeah.
A week. Nice.
So, out of all the guests you've ever had on, who is your favorite guest?
Yeah, we've asked Brockman this as well. We actually had Chris on. Actually,
about a month ago.
Yeah,
about a month
roughly
ago.
A month ago. And he obviously said the marquee ones, Larry David and the Schaefers and everything like that. Oh, but before we leave, how awesome was it being cameoed with Jay Cutler and his awesome hot wife on the league this year?
That was fun. We work a lot of long hours and days are long and all that stuff, but we honestly have the greatest jobs ever. It's so much fun, and stuff like that are some of the perks that we've been afforded, obviously, getting to be a part of the Eisen show and the podcast. And that was fun. I missed out on it the year before. They did the cameo on the draft open. I don't know if you guys saw the show then. But I was out of town during that, so I missed out. And then, kind of by circumstance, we had the Schaefers in. And Brockman, as you guys may have realized when he's on your show, he's not the humblest. He'll say whatever he wants and ask for anything. So he kept asking for another cameo appearance, and as a joke, Jackie kind of, threw out the bet wager of the Seahawks-Patriots game, and if the Seahawks won, I got to be on a cameo by myself, and Brockman couldn't be on. And I don't know if you guys remember that game, but the Patriots were up by 13 points with about 5 minutes to go. The Seahawks, two deep touchdown passes, I believe both to Sidney Rice. I'm going nuts. So I get the cameo, and it was fun. I got to shoot it with Jay Cutler and his wife. And then they gave me some speaking lines too, which kind of one up my boy Brockman a little. So it was fun.
Yeah, we know. Remember the asking him Michael Crabtree about the Super Bowl ring.
Yeah, we egged on him on that.
He's the best. We have a good time, and we kind of all have our little personalities on the show, and then some of it, we feed into it more. Them with me and the latex and stuff. Brockman with his inappropriate questions.
Yeah, I still can't believe you didn't give rich kids gifts. That might be the.
Yeah, that's like the thing is that's funny about that is the thought didn't even pass his mind that there was anything wrong with what he was doing, or of I'm about to give a pot and a pan to a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old wrapped in a Christmas present. Like, they might not react the best, or hey, maybe I should have backup gifts as real gifts. Like, that thought didn't even cross his mind, which is what's hilarious to me.
So, like I said, who is your favorite guest of all time?
Ooh, favorite guest of all time. That's a tough one.
Well, since he does do majority of the booking, I'm sure all the guests are his favorite, obviously.
Yeah. We've been fortunate. I'd say probably 3 stand out to me the most. Brian Banks, obviously, because of just what his story was, what he overcame, the just mind-boggling everything that came along with that. We had Peter Berg on. He's the director of Friday Night Lights, the television show, or creator of Friday Night Lights, the television show, and then he directed, he has a new movie out right now, actually, Lone Survivor, which I recommend. It's good. He came in and was one of the nicest guys ever. Came in, said, I don't want to talk about the movie. I want to talk about football. I want to talk about what I'm passionate about, and that's heads-up football and, teaching proper tackling technique, because he told a story of, I don't know if you guys heard the episode, but they were scouting for Friday Night Lights, and he, essentially in front of 50,000 people, he saw a kid, break his neck and on a tackle. And the only thing you heard was 49,999 people dead silent, and the kid's mother just screaming for 7 minutes until the ambulance came. And I still remember him telling the story, like, to this day. Anytime I think of it, like, hairs raised, because he's just such a passionate, engaging guy, and you can tell he's the real deal. And when you get guests like that, it's, those are the ones you don't want the interviews to end.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then probably Vince Gilligan. I mean, that one was that was awesome as a Breaking Bad fan. He was, again, humble, down to earth, came with no handlers, and just sat there and answered pretty much every single question we fired at him. So,
how many people call you Badger now?
I don't get it as much anymore, probably because he wasn't on the show as much. Like when his run was up, or when he was on a lot, I didn't watch the show the first 2 seasons. So a couple of people would say to me, "You sound just like Badger." And I'm like, I don't know who that is or what that is. And then I hear his voice, and I don't think I sound anything like him. But when 70 people tell you that, or a couple hundred people tell you, it must be some truth to it. So, but yeah, I haven't gotten it as much lately.
Yeah, that was what when I was telling my dad that we were having him. Like, we're having Badger from Breaking Bad on, and he's like, "Yeah." You know exactly who it was, because he listens to the Eisen podcast also.
Yeah, I get Badger from Breaking Bad sounding, and I get F. Shriver looking all the time. So between those two, it's ridiculous. But Leo's actually somebody we've wanted to have on, because he's the guy that voices over 24/7 and Hard Knocks. He does a great job.
And the Brian Banks episode, honestly, all kidding aside, of all the great guests you have on, that might have been the best episode you guys have ever done. All like serious level. It was just earth-shattering. I know you guys mentioned it after the interview and everything like that, but honestly, that was arguably the best interview you guys put on. That was just a phenomenal show. And just hearing about his story, unfortunately, he didn't stick on with the Atlanta Falcons. But he did get that movie deal, according to TMZ last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I think Steven Spielberg's attached to it also.
Oh, I didn't know that part of it. If that's the case, that's going to be amazing. I can't wait to see that movie. Unfortunately, it's going to be a really sad one. But I'm just happy for him to get back on his feet, because God knows, obviously none of us want to be in that particular situation. But being in prison for something you don't do is kind of crazy. So definitely, that was by far my favorite interview. All kidding aside, all less comedy on a serious note. That was arguably the best work you guys have done the last couple of years that I've listened to.
Thanks. I appreciate that. I lived in San Diego for 5 years, and I had a friend that worked for the California Innocence Project. And that's kind of how I first heard about the story. And then I contacted his agent trying to get an interview, and they wanted to do it about a year prior. We were going to do it. But 60 Minutes, he was just about to shoot a sit-down for 60 Minutes. And they put him on on an interview embargo. He couldn't do any other press for essentially 2 months until the piece aired. So, and then once those 2 months came up, he was already out of the state, and I think he was up to Seattle at first, and then obviously not around. So we kind of sat on it for a long time, but that was one that I was happy to see happen, and just living in San Diego and kind of knowing what the Innocence Project was and the work that they do. Just thought it was a good story that obviously needed told. And, he told it on 60 Minutes, and that was a phenomenal piece, but you can't tell that story in 10 minutes. And that's the great thing about a podcast and, what you guys are doing and what we do. the short form interviews are great, but what do you really learn about a guest when they're on Leno or when they're on, a late night show for 5 minutes? We've kind of tried to take, the Howard Stern model of, those long form interviews. We can really get into something and learn about someone, hopefully. So that's the good thing about the podcasts.
Well, Chris, we'd like to thank you for joining us.
Thank you for coming on. Hopefully we catch up during Super Bowl week. I know you're going to be a busy guy, but hopefully we can catch up. Thanks for coming on. It was great talk.
Absolutely, guys. Thanks for having me anytime. Let me know. Happy to come back on again.
Keep up the hard work, all right?
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Chris.
Sure.
SNDPODCAST is in no way affiliated with, associated with, produced, or endorsed by the National Football League or any of its affiliates.
All right, welcome back to the S&D podcast. Thank you once again to Chris Law for coming on and sharing a few stories with us and spending a few minutes with us. It was definitely a great interview. Thank you for coming on. We greatly appreciate it. Let's start to the big matchups this week, the NFC and AFC championship games. We both have the
Super Bowl
matchups, but which person will be correct? 100%?
We might as well stick with our matchups, right?
Might as well. Granted, I want this.
You have both road teams and I have both home teams.
Yes, I do want the Broncos to win, but I'm going to go with the Patriots. They are evil. They are the empire to Peyton Manning's Jedis. You don't know what's going to happen, but anytime when you have Bill Belichick and Tom Brady at the helm, you know they could win at any moment. They have had their luck and they have had their misfortune the last couple of years. It would be very awesome for them to come to play the Super Bowl in MetLife Stadium, drive the Jet fans crazy. Imagine having to hear Jet fans complain that Tom Brady and the Patriots are practicing at their facility, and
that would be amazing.
Have videos taped and wired for next season when they spy on the Jets. See what I did there? I know plenty of those theories are going to come around because they're going to really care about the Jets when they're in the Super Bowl.
Well, on that Thursday night when the Patriots host the Jets to open the season to do the banner and they beat them by 30, they'll say, "Oh, well, they watched us practice and they saw everything we were doing."
They hid video cameras everywhere at the Jets training facility. Anyway, I'm excited for Manning Brady matchup once again.
15?
15, yeah. Once again, but honestly though, the Broncos do have the upper hand right now. They do have Julius Thomas coming back. Julius Thomas didn't play in that matchup.
I'm going to say this to the younger crowd who's watching this, who haven't seen all 15 like we have.
Yeah.
Cherish this one.
Yeah, this one's could be
one of the last playoff matchups between the two of them. It's a big one. So cherish this matchup. You're not going to see two quarterbacks like this ever again.
I think whoever throws or fumbles whoever gets the first turnover is going to cost the game. And it's going to be interesting to see.
All right, who's going to fumble first, Shane Vereen or Moreno?
You mean
or Ridley?
Ridley? It's going to be Ridley. Duh.
Because you know that...
But honestly, how can you give him anybody other than LeGarrette Blount the ball?
Easily. New England Patriot motto.
After the last two games that he has had, they're
but you dominate 1 week with one guy, another guy gets the ball the next week.
But you got to give the hot hand to LeGarrette Blount, so he's gonna be.
You know what's scary with the way Blount has been playing? You got to think that the Broncos are setting up to make Brady beat them.
Yeah, definitely. And
you're saying to one of the best quarterbacks of all time, arguably the greatest. Top three quarterbacks.
Even though I'm 18 weeks, late on the prediction, I did say LeGarrette Blount during fantasy, all the fantasy. We should pick him up. We should pick him up, and then he finally gone off with the team record with rushing touchdowns in one game and rushing over 145 yards against the Colts defense on Saturday night. It was just very impressive to see in the rain, and he was able to just bust it against the Colts. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be not like the slobber knocker defensive battle like the NFC matchup is going to be, but They're both defenses are going to show.
You know what's going to be crazy this weekend? When the AFC game is going to be low scoring, and the NFC game is going to be really high scoring.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
That's the type of weekend it could be.
I could see that definitely happening, because since both the Niners and Seahawks are built on defense, but that's what always happens. Let's see what happens with that. So I guess you'll go with the Broncos, and I will go with the Patriots, just because that's our Super Bowl matchup.
So we both pick.
Yeah.
I said at the beginning of the teams that were playing in the Super Bowl this year came to scout. They didn't come to play the Giants. They came to scout the bedrooms and the training facilities.
Of course, and you did mention that. Might as well talk about the NFC game. It's the new blood with the quarterback. The NFC West, the teams that hate each other. It's going to be interesting to see how the 49ers are going to be able to come into the 12th man and dominate. I think with Harbaugh, going to have this team ready to go. They're just a playoff powerhouse right now the last 3 years. And I see them coming into the 12th man and dominating. They're going to find a way to pull it out against the Seattle Seahawks.
Kaepernick hasn't shown me anything there.
He hasn't.
Worst games have been there.
It has been there. But they have that run defense. They have the defense that could stop Marshawn Lynch and stop the passing game. The passing game for the Seahawks have been nothing as of late, and that scares me a lot. And I think the 49ers are going to find a way to utilize Kaepernick in the playoffs. Playing Kaepernick in the playoffs and playing Kaepernick in the regular season has been shown two different types of Colin Kaepernicks. And he has been a beast in the playoffs, and no one can take that away from him. He turns it on. He's that guy that comes out of nowhere in the playoffs.
I forgot which podcast it was, but one of them said there's like 4 Niner quarterbacks, named a bunch of big-time quarterbacks, that Kaepernick has more road wins in the postseason than. And one of them, I think, was Montana.
Well, considering that the Niners have always were home games.
Right, so that one road game always.
Yeah, was one of those random road games. So you can understand why. He already has... let's do this in our head. They
6. This is game... They had 3 last year. They had the bye. 3 playoff games.
Yeah, he's 6-1.
3, 2, 3, 4... 4-1.
4-1.
4-1.
He could be 5-1.
5-1. Yeah, this is game 5. This is game. No.
Oh yeah, that's right. They had the bye week last year. I apologize.
Yeah, they had the bye week. Then they hosted the Packers, and then they went on the road.
Yes.
Didn't they go right? They went on the road.
Yeah,
I
so
believe.
He's won 3 road games so far in his career, and that says a lot. And that he could turn it on, but as quickly as he can turn it on, they can turn it off. But with Frank Gore, they should be able to pound the ball a little bit more than they would like to, and establish that run game with him and Kaepernick. So it's going to be interesting. I definitely think they are my Super Bowl winners. So I have to go with the Niners on this one.
I gotta go. I feel like Peyton's due for another ring.
He's due for another ring. He's absolutely right. He's due for another ring, but Peyton Manning is his worst enemy more times than not.
Brady. Not Peyton. Peyton Manning's worst enemy.
Yeah, he is his worst enemy.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
He'll throw stupid picks, or it's just the Patriots have always been that thorn in the side.
I do like that they said that. I think it was Michael Irvin who said that Omaha means absolutely nothing.
No, and
because Omaha meant something the last time that Peyton played the Chargers. So he used it to his advantage and made it mean the complete opposite.
Can I get a what grinds my gears moment right here?
Go for it.
Omaha was not originated by Peyton Manning.
It was originated by Eli.
Well, probably not originated, but Eli was the one who did it all the time. Omaha. That normally for the Giants is the players on one, hurry the hell up. I wasted too much time with the play clock. Speaking of the Giants, I know we couldn't get a podcast without the Giants. The Giants are clearing house with their offensive coaches. I'm excited to see what McAdoo is going to do with the Giants this year, next year coming up. But that's beside the point. That will be coming up later in the later episodes. But I think it's gonna come down to the final drive and whoever has the ball, and hopefully it's Peyton. It's gonna be nice to see Peyton.
Let Peyton win it.
Yeah, it's just I have the Patriots winning, but you can't go against Peyton. And he's earned it this year. And whoever has the ball last is going to take care of it.
Make sure to check out next week's show, by the way, where we will give out the awards.
Oh, yeah.
We will do all the awards next week.
Next week's going to be fun.
For next week's episode, we will give out all the NFL year-end awards. So make sure to check that out. We'll also not preview, but talk a little bit about... We'll recap the games. We're not going to talk about the Super Bowl matchups yet. But anyway, Dan's got the road teams. I got the home teams.
Enjoy your football.
Enjoy the last football with multiple games on it.
Yeah, last Sunday. Real football Sunday. Enjoy. Thanks again to Chris Law for coming on with us.
Before we go, I got to make sure I forgot to do it in the intro. We have to dedicate this show to Corey and David Kay for their Midnight Hockey League championship for the Arrows at Iceworks last night. Congrats. We love you, David Kay.
Congrats to both of them.
David Kay with the MVP award, by the way.
Congratulations to that.
We even got his autograph.
Oh, wow. I'm sure that's going to be on eBay in the next couple of days.
I think Vin already put it.
A lot of money.
It is. So, shout out to the Arrows and their Midnight Hockey Championship. So, tough, hard-working win last night.
Of course.
Came down to the wire. Actually, just like an Islander game.
Oh.
They were winning 3-0, and they almost lost.
Oh. Anyway, I'm Dan. Steve, I was about to do my Brent Musburger. Hi, I'm Steve, and that's Dan right over there. Anyway, thanks for listening this week. We'll talk to you next week.
Have a good one.